The elevator that stopped at floor 7. A true horror story in 2017. A man working night shifts in a corporate building in Dhaka reported something strange. Every night at exactly 2:17 am, the elevator in his building would stop at the 7th floor. The problem was, there was no 7th floor in that building. The story. This story was shared by a man named Fahim. At that time, Fahim worked as an IT support staff in a corporate office building. His job required him to stay late at night to monitor servers and handle emergency system issues. The building had 6 floors. Ground floor plus 5 upper floors. There was no 7th floor. Fahim worked on the 5th floor. Most nights were quiet. After 10 p.m., almost everyone left the building. Only a few security guards and cleaning staff remained. Around midnight, the building felt completely empty. Long corridors, silent offices, dim lights, and the constant hum of computers. One night, around 2 a.m., Fahim decided to go downstairs to get some tea from a small stall outside. He pressed the elevator button. The elevator arrived quickly. He stepped inside and pressed G for ground floor. The doors closed. The elevator began to move. Everything seemed normal. Until suddenly, the elevator stopped. The display showed 7. Fahim frowned. That didn't make any sense. There was no 7th floor. Before he could react, the elevator doors slowly opened. Outside, there was complete darkness. No hallway. No lights. Just an empty black space. Fahim felt a cold chill run through his body. He stepped back immediately. The doors stayed open for a few seconds. Then they closed on their own. The elevator started moving again. This time, it went directly to the ground floor. Fahim stood there confused. He assumed it was a technical glitch. Maybe a sensor error. The next day, he reported it to the building maintenance team. They checked the system. Everything was normal. No errors. No extra floor programmed into the elevator. Fahim ignored it. Until it happened again. The next night. At exactly 2:17 a.m. The elevator stopped. Floor 7. Doors opened. Darkness. This time, Fahim didn't step out. But he noticed something else. There was a faint sound. Like someone whispering from the darkness. He couldn't understand the words. But it sounded like a voice. Calling softly. Fahim quickly pressed the close door button. The doors shut. The elevator moved again. Now he felt uneasy. This wasn't a simple glitch. For the next few nights, Fahim avoided using the elevator late at night. He used the stairs instead. But one night, something forced him to use it again. There was a system failure on the ground floor server room. He had to go down quickly. It was already 2:15 a.m. He hesitated. But time was critical. So he stepped into the elevator again. The doors closed. The elevator began to move. And once again, at exactly 2:17 am, it stopped. Floor 7. The doors opened slowly. This time, something was different. There was light. Dim. Flickering. Like an old fluorescent light in a hallway. Fahim looked carefully. He could now see a corridor. Long. Empty. The walls looked old. Stained. Nothing like the modern building he worked in. Then he saw something at the end of the corridor. A figure. Standing still. Facing away from him. Fahim's breath stopped. The figure slowly turned its head. And for a brief moment, He saw its face, pale, expressionless, eyes completely dark. Then the lights flickered, and the corridor disappeared. The elevator door slammed shut. Fahim pressed the emergency button repeatedly. The elevator dropped suddenly to the ground floor. When the doors opened, he ran out immediately. The next morning, Fahim spoke to one of the oldest security guards in the building. The old man listened carefully. Then he said something unsettling. Before this building was built, there used to be another structure here. An old hospital. Fahim felt his stomach tighten. The guard continued. They say one of the floors was sealed after a series of incidents. People used to complain about seeing things, hearing voices, and sometimes. He paused, then finished quietly. Elevators stopping where they shouldn't. Fahim never used the elevator after 2 a.m. again. And even today, he still remembers one thing clearly. That floor should not exist. But somehow, it still does. Fahim didn't use the elevator after 2 a.m. again. For the next few days, he avoided it completely during late hours. Even when he needed to go downstairs, he forced himself to use the stairs. 5 floors. Every night. No matter how tired he was. Because what he saw that night didn't feel like a glitch anymore. It felt real. The decision. A week passed. Nothing unusual happened. No strange sounds. No system issues. Everything returned to normal. At least on the surface. But Fahim couldn't stop thinking about it. That corridor. That figure. That face. And most importantly, that floor. Floor 7. He started asking questions. Carefully, quietly, he spoke to the cleaning staff, the security guards, even a few older office workers. At first, no one wanted to talk about it. They either ignored the question or changed the topic. Until one night, he met an older security guard named Karim. Karim had been working in the building for more than 15 years. Long before most of the current staff arrived, Fahim decided to ask him directly. Have you ever heard of something strange about the elevator? Karim looked at him for a few seconds, then asked quietly, You saw it too, didn't you? Fahim felt a chill. So it's real, he asked. Karim didn't answer immediately. Instead, he lit a cigarette and looked toward the dark corridor. Then he spoke. There was a hospital here before this building. Fahim nodded. I heard that. Karim continued. But what you don't know is what happened inside it. The old story. According to Karim, the hospital had a hidden floor. Not officially listed. It was used for special cases. Patients who were isolated. Patients no one talked about. Some said it was for infectious diseases. Others believed it was something else entirely. But the stories became darker over time. People who worked there began reporting strange things. Lights turning on by themselves. Voices in empty rooms. Elevators stopping at floors that didn't exist. And then one day, something happened. Karim lowered his voice. One night, several staff members reported seeing the same thing. A man standing in the hallway. Not moving. Just watching. Fahim felt his chest tighten. That same night, the entire floor was sealed. Completely closed off. No one was allowed to enter again. What happened to the patients? Fahim asked. Karim looked at him. No one knows. The recording. After hearing this, Fahim couldn't ignore it anymore. Fear was still there, but curiosity had become stronger. He needed proof. So one night, he decided to do something risky. He set up his phone camera inside the elevator. He positioned it carefully so it could capture the door and the display panel. Then he waited. 2:10 a.m. 2:15 a.m. His heart started beating faster. 2:17 a.m. The elevator suddenly stopped. The display changed. 7. The doors slowly opened. Darkness. The same empty black space. Fahim stood frozen. He didn't move. He didn't step out. He just let the camera record. After a few seconds, the doors closed. The elevator moved again. When it reached the ground floor, Fahim grabbed his phone immediately. His hands were shaking. He opened the video. Pressed play. The recording showed everything clearly. The elevator stopping. The number 7. The doors opening. But something was wrong. Very wrong. In the video, the space outside the elevator wasn't empty. There was a corridor, dimly lit, just like he saw before. But that wasn't the worst part. There was someone standing there, right in front of the elevator, much closer than he remembered. A tall figure, facing directly toward the camera. Fahim's breath stopped. He paused the video, zoomed in. The face was clearer now. Pale, still, eyes completely dark. But then he noticed something else. The figure wasn't alone. Behind it, further down the corridor, there were more shapes, standing in the darkness, watching, waiting. Fahim dropped the phone. His hands went cold, because he realized something terrifying. When he stood inside the elevator, he only saw one figure. But the camera captured many. The chain. After that night, things began to get worse. Fahim started hearing sounds in the office. Footsteps in empty hallways. Soft whispers when no one was around. Sometimes, he felt like someone was standing behind him, watching, even when he was alone. Then one night, something happened that changed everything. Around 2:17 a.m., the elevator stopped again. But this time, Fahim wasn't inside it. He was standing outside, watching the elevator doors from the hallway. The display changed. 7. The doors slowly opened. From where he stood, he could see inside the elevator. And what he saw made his entire body freeze. Someone was standing inside. A figure, tall, still, facing the hallway. It was Fahim. And it wasn't anyone from the building. The figure slowly stepped forward, out of the elevator, into the hallway. Fahim couldn't move. He couldn't breathe. The figure stopped a few steps away from him. Then it tilted its head slightly and whispered, "You came back, doesn't stay on that floor." Fahim stood frozen in the hallway. The elevator doors were still open behind the figure. The display above it still showed. 7. The thing standing in front of him didn't move like a normal person. Its body was still, but something about it felt wrong. Unnatural. Like it didn't fully belong in that space. "You came back." The whisper echoed again. Not loud, but clear. Too clear. Fahim tried to speak, but his throat felt dry. His voice didn't come out. The figure took one slow step forward. The hallway lights flickered. For a brief moment, everything went dim. And in that flicker, Fahim saw something he would never forget. The figure's face changed. It wasn't one face. It was many. Faint shapes shifting under the surface. like multiple expressions trying to form at once. Then the light stabilized again, and the face returned to that same blank, pale stare. Fahim stepped back. Slowly, carefully. The figure didn't rush. It didn't chase. It simply watched, as if it already knew he couldn't escape. Then something behind Fahim made a sound. A door. One of the office doors slowly creaked open. Fahim turned his head for just a second. And when he looked back, the figure was closer. Much closer. Only a few feet away now. Fahim's heart started pounding. "You shouldn't be here," he whispered. The figure tilted its head slightly. Then it spoke again. "Neither should you." At that moment, Fahim ran. He didn't think. He didn't look back. He just ran down the hallway toward the emergency staircase. He pushed the door open and rushed inside. His footsteps echoed loudly as he ran down the stairs. 5 floors. 4. 3. He didn't stop. When he finally reached the ground floor, he burst through the exit door and ran outside the building. The cold night air hit his face. He bent forward, trying to catch his breath. For a few minutes he stayed outside, too afraid to go back in. Eventually, one of the security guards came out and saw him. "What happened?" the guard asked. Fahim shook his head. "I'm leaving," he said. "I'm not coming back here at night." The aftermath. Fahim requested a shift change the very next day. Within a week, he left the job completely. He tried to move on. Tried to forget everything. And for a while, it worked. The nightmares stopped. The anxiety faded. Life slowly returned to normal. But something didn't feel right. Not completely. Sometimes late at night, he felt like someone was watching him. From a distance. From somewhere unseen. The final incident. About a month later, Fahim was staying at home. It was around 2 a.m. He was alone in his room, scrolling through his phone. Everything was quiet. Then suddenly, he heard a sound. A soft mechanical hum. Familiar. Too familiar. He looked up slowly and felt his blood turn cold. There was no elevator in his house, but he could hear it. The sound of doors sliding open. Right outside his room. Fahim stood up slowly, his hands trembling. The hallway outside his room was dark. The light flickered once, then again, and then he saw it. At the end of the hallway, a shape, standing there, still, watching him. The same height, the same presence, the same feeling. Fahim whispered, "No." The figure tilted its head, and for the final time, it spoke. "You didn't leave." Fahim stepped back slowly. His legs felt weak. The hallway seemed longer now. Darker. The air colder. Then something appeared on the wall beside the figure. Numbers. Faint at first. Then clearer. 7. The same number. The same floor. The same place that should not exist. Fahim closed his eyes, as if that would make it disappear. But deep down, he already knew the truth. The truth. Some places are not just locations. They are connections. Doors. And sometimes, those doors don't stay where they belong. Fahim thought he left that building, that elevator, that floor. But the truth was, he didn't leave it. It followed him. Even today, Fahim avoids elevators completely. He takes the stairs everywhere. No matter how high. No matter how long it takes. Because sometimes, when a place lets you see it, it doesn't let you go. And somewhere, at exactly 2:17 am, an elevator still stops at a floor that doesn't exist, waiting for someone to step out, the recording that was never supposed to exist. Fahim thought it was over. After that night in his apartment, he stopped talking about it, stopped thinking about it, and most importantly, he avoided anything related to elevators. Weeks turned into months. Life slowly returned to normal. Or at least, that's what he believed. The message. One evening, Fahim received an unexpected message. It was from an unknown number. There was no name, no profile picture, just a single text. "You left something behind." Fahim frowned. He didn't reply. He assumed it was a mistake. But a few seconds later, another message arrived. This time, it was a video file. No caption, no explanation, just a file. Fahim hesitated. For a moment, he considered deleting it. But curiosity won. He opened the video. The footage. The video started with static. Then slowly, the image became clear. It was CCTV footage. Grainy, black and white. Fahim leaned closer to the screen. His heart started beating faster, because he recognized the place. It was the building. The same building where he used to work. The camera angle showed the elevator lobby on the 5th floor. The timestamp on the video read 02:17 am. Fahim's fingers tightened around the phone. The elevator display changed. 7. The doors slowly opened. And then, Fahim felt the air leave his lungs. Inside the elevator, someone was standing. It was him. Fahim, standing perfectly still, facing forward, not moving, not reacting, just standing there. Fahim dropped the phone for a second. His mind couldn't process what he was seeing. He picked it up again, replayed the video. It was still the same. Him, inside the elevator, at 2:17 am, on a floor that didn't exist. The truth he missed. Then the video changed. The camera switched. Now it showed inside the elevator. The angle was from the top corner. Looking down, Fahim watched carefully. His past self stood there, frozen, silent. But then, something behind him moved. Slowly, very slowly, a shape began to form in the corner of the elevator. At first, it looked like a shadow, but then it became clearer. A tall figure, standing directly behind him. So close that it was almost touching him. Fahim's chest tightened, because in real life, he never saw that. He was never alone. The final frame. The video continued. The figure slowly leaned forward, closer to Fahim. Closer, closer, until its face was right beside his ear. Then it whispered something. The video had no sound. But suddenly, text appeared on the screen, like subtitles. One sentence. "You came with me." Fahim's hands started shaking. The video ended. The last realization. Fahim immediately checked the sender. The number was gone. The chat disappeared, as if it had never existed. But the video remained, saved on his phone. Proof of something impossible. That night Fahim didn't sleep. He sat in his room, lights on, heart racing, trying to understand one thing. If that was him inside the elevator, then who walked out that night?